Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE Smackdown every Saturday night. My name is John Zindel. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, why don't you go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself?
First show post Bad Blood, and I'm getting into this Saturday rhythm we got going on here. This is fun stuff. Without further ado, John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from the October 11th episode of SmackDown?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And let me tell you something. The lead is we have Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso in a match, and Solo Sikoa knocks off Jimmy Uso after, surprise, surprise, some interference from the Bloodline. So Solo picks up the win from Jimmy Uso, and then we have a big schmoz at the end with a variety of people, Roman Reigns included. And Roman Reigns kind of takes the beat down, and we see this Timu bloodline, if you will, kind of looking strong, doing the little finger up, and Roman Reigns is knocked out in the ring. Dom, what'd you think of this main event?
They are clearly trying to build, without saying it, they look like they're trying to bring back Bloodline 1.0 versus Bloodline 2.0. Because this whole show, even from the opening segment with Jimmy in the ring and then Roman coming out to it, was Jimmy trying to convince Roman we need some help, and we don't. And this show goes off the air, like you said, Roman Reigns, after getting spiked by Solo Sikoa, lying in the ring, trying to regain his bearings, and Jimmy Uso, who also staggers and crawls back into the ring after the Bloodline leaves. And you audibly hear on TV Jimmy telling Roman in the ring, we need help. Because earlier, when Jimmy suggested that he knows someone they can get, and the crowd starts yeeting. Yeet, yeet. And Roman goes, no yeet. So they're trying to indicate that there's still some unfinished business between Roman and Jay. So this is all going to be like, can Roman get the band back together?
Yes.
It's like the Blues Brothers. We're getting the band back together.
Right.
It's 106 miles or whatever to Chicago, although Chicago is this time Survivor Series. It's kind of 7 weeks to Survivor Series. It's dark and we're wearing sunglasses.
Nice. It's kind of funny. We joke about this before, but sometimes faces always have trouble being cohesive with each other, and this is an example where heels who are bad guys for some reason work so well teamwork wise. It's one of these like goofy pro wrestling things. It doesn't really make any sense. You'd think the heels have trouble working together, and the faces are good team players, but no.
In pro wrestling, there is honor among thieves.
Yes. Yeah, the good guys, they have no idea how to work together. But
anything from the match that you wanted to call out? I think everybody expected this to become a schmoz at the end. Because we've seen it before. The wrinkle this time is that Roman does get beat up, and he's only got one ally. But the visual of it's okay. It's 4-on-2. Obviously, this isn't going to work. So now they're trying to talk Roman into, you can't fight 4-on-2.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, to be honest with you, I feel like Solo Sikoa, he's just way over.
Yep.
And even some of the stuff he was doing, like selling to the crowd, like his like woo he does, I'm not going to try to imitate it because I can't quite get what it is, but it's not like a Ric Flair woo, but it's a woo that the crowd boos.
As they should.
Yeah, and some of the transitions were really cool. I think, Jimmy and Jay, they kind of rely a lot on striking, like getting the striking over. And I thought some of the spinning knee kick or spinning kick from Solo Sikoa looked really good. And when he has to move in there, you see his body type. He looks like he should be an offensive guard or a center or something. Like he's a big, strong, traditional, strong-looking person, right? But he can really move quick when he has to in there. He's very agile.
I'll give you the comparison. You ready? And you're a Philadelphia guy. He's Charles Barkley.
Oh, yeah.
Barkley had a different body type. He wasn't fat, like obese and soft. He just had a different body type. But he's a magnificent athlete. He could jump. He could run. He was quick.
Yeah.
Barkley. Solo Sikoa, you look at him in there and like this guy's not fat. He's Charles Barkley.
He does look like obviously not the height, but definitely like kind of a doughier figure, but strong as hell and athletic as hell. But not your traditional like ripped bodybuilder type that you see a lot in pro wrestling.
Just thick though. He's got a lower center of gravity, thick around the midsection and the torso, but it's not beer belly.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's not KO.
Barkley. and I still will put forth that Solo Sikoa is ahead of anybody in his family at this stage of his career. Now that doesn't mean I think he's going to reach the heights that Rock reached or the heights that Roman Reigns reached. But at this stage of his career, I think he's ahead of all of them. And you mentioned playing to the crowd. The way he vocalizes in the ring, not just the woo, but like he was shouting at Jimmy tonight. Who's the little brother now, Jimmy? I'm not little anymore.
And you know what?
And everybody heard it. If you were in the first few rows of that arena, you heard it. We heard it on the cameras for the TV feed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fantastic.
I'll tell you what, too. He's like, they'll kind of, I should say, when he's screaming that at Jimmy the whole time, there's like a level of realism and there's an intensity that's right enough because it doesn't feel hokey. It sounds really intimidating and scary, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that down. And yeah, I'm really happy with Solo, and we've been for a while.
Only spots I wanted to call out from this is Solo does that Uranage. They call it the spinning solo, but he's not always spinning with it. It's just a really quick looking. Rock called it the rock bottom. It's that you hook the guy under his shoulders, under his armpits, and just drive him down. It's not really a choke slam because you're not up at the throat. And you're not lifting him that high. It's just under the armpits. I like the Uranage slam. Jimmy, let's see here. Solo went to charge Jimmy in the corner, but Jimmy sprung up and caught him with a super kick. But they were both out, and Solo got to his feet first. Jimmy does a top turnbuckle cross body. You don't see that a lot anymore. Although, as I'm saying that, both Jimmy and his wife did it on this show. The top turnbuckle cross body. For the 2K, like every top turnbuckle move, most of them, it's like, okay, the person is down already. It's like this one is, you deliver to an opponent who's gotten up. I like the top turn cross body. I like that. And when the timing's right and everybody bumps correctly, it's a great looking move. Let's see here. We've got Nick on us.
Nick, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Solo doesn't look as dangerous as other enforcers in years past. Other than the fact that he has a mohawk. He doesn't have the look to me of an enforcer or of a superstar. Okay, you brought up John, he doesn't have the height of Charles Barkley. Like, Solo doesn't have the height. He looks short. Like Roman towers over people. The Rock towered over people. And I wonder if Cody Rhodes is going to have this problem. Cody Rhodes does not tower over people.
No.
If you're going to be in a faction and you are the shortest one there, you better be the wise man Paul Heyman, or it's going to cause a problem. So, yes, Nick, that's going to be an interesting call as to what they do, because, yes, the visual is a little weird. Solo's doesn't look like the bar bouncer compared to the other guys. Now, in real life, Solo Sikoa is a huge human being.
Yes.
But compared to other wrestlers, he looks short and stocky.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also,
That's a great call out. Yeah.
also important to note in real life, just because you're tall doesn't mean you're tough.
Right.
So, like,
Right.
if you look at even like UFC, there's a big fighter, Daniel Cormier, and he was their heavyweight and 215 champ, and he'd be fighting dudes that were just so ripped, and he was just so thick, but he's this great wrestler. He had tons of endurance, and he just like a doughy guy beating up on these ripped dudes. So
Yeah.
if you I guess that's it's not traditional pro wrestling that you're not so ripped, but times are changing. Vince is gone, so you're going to see different body types.
I also think that if you're going to be an enforcer, you almost can't talk. So when Solo made the transition to being the new tribal chief and he's talking, now Jacob Fatu is the enforcer.
Yeah.
And he's great at being the enforcer. He's a tremendous athlete too. Wild Samoans recreation with Jacob and Solo. Ah, yeah. See, you're a longtime pro wrestling fan there. You remember the Wild Samoans. I vaguely remember them also with Captain Lou Albano as their manager.
Yes, but it's not like I know who they were, but I don't necessarily know too much about them, except for Captain Lou's awesome.
Now the difference is the Wild Samoans. That was back when WWF was doing the trope of anybody who's not from the U.S. or Europe is an old time savage, right? Like they don't wear shoes. They don't know what anything is. The world, it's like they're unfrozen caveman lawyer from Saturday Night Live. Your world frightens and confuses me. What is this box with the lights coming out of it? It looks like there's people in there. Nowadays, like Solo Sikoa comes out dressed to the nines in a suit. He's articulate on the microphone, so it's not the old time trope. But yeah, there is sort of they are playing up the fact that all of these guys, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, Jacob Fatu, there's a level of savagery to them that you wouldn't get from polite pro wrestling.
Right. Anything else?
Danger factor. I like. Do you like that? Or do you think they're? Tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comments, and I'll throw the question out to you, John. Do you think that WWE has done a good job of sort of updating some of the foreign cultures that they try and exemplify without making everybody like backwards savage?
Oh, this is a dangerous question, Dom. This is the internet. Let's see here.
I'll say yes. I mean, sometimes the tropiness gets like, all right, I get it. It's all this type of person together, but it's not. I don't think they're making them like backwards people who somehow aren't modern people.
Yes, right. It's not that offensive, not that level.
Kabuki warriors are modern people.
Yes, I think they do probably need a, and I think you see it with the Judgment Day. I like when they kind of mix the people up a little bit better. Like the Judgment Day, you have different types of people, different body types, different backgrounds, and it's a really cool mix.
Yes.
Versus like, oh, we have 3 black guys, let's make them like they did it with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, and it was just like, we don't have to necessarily do that, right?
Yep.
But
yes, but nobody's treated like they're Kamala or Gorilla Monsoon. Or even the Giant Gonzalez. It's like, oh, we found this guy in the jungles of Argentina.
Right. That's all gone. I have another one that came through from Nick.
Very good. Solo hasn't won, so he in kayfabe is not that tough. Ooh, see, when he was the enforcer, he was beating everybody. He had an undefeated streak for a while.
Yeah, he was really close to getting that mega push because he kept being undefeated and then eventually started losing. Recently, though, he just keeps losing to whomever the top baby face is, which is Cody. It feels like he's lost to Cody several times.
He's lost to Cody a couple of times. But other than that, I mean, he beats Jimmy tonight.
Poor Jimmy on his return.
Right, poor Jimmy on his return. He was the hero at Bad Blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, on this one, yes, he gets on the short end of a 4-on-1 and gets pinned by his little brother.
Ever since he dropped the tag titles, he has just been losing, and he's the default job guy, you
Yep.
know? And I don't know what.
I smell a favorite for the Ricochet Memorial Award.
Right. Well, we were going to give it to Misha, but she's winning now. So I
Yeah,
guess,
right.
you know? All right.
Maybe it's Jimmy Uso.
Right.
You got 2.5 months, Jimmy. Don't pin anybody.
Yeah, you got to keep losing and keep putting on
It's
main
in the
event
bag,
quality
baby.
match.
You're the favorite.
All right. So that's the lead. Dom, you want to move on to the follow here?
I think so. Let's go. We got a lot of show. What do you like? What do you like? We had 4 matches tonight, plus a lot of backstage stuff. So you pick it. Where do you want to go next?
I'm going to go ahead and say my match of the night here is right after the opening talking segment, the opener match. LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes for the US title. LA Knight ends up winning and retaining the title. And this is my match of the night. What'd you think of this one, Dom?
He's the new Gunther. This is what we wanted. We wanted somebody who could wrestle a lot as a champion, put on matches that we knew weren't going to be bad. Like at the worst, this is going to be a pretty good match. And it's not just for LA Knight. Like Carmelo Hayes can go, and this is I'm noticing Carmelo Hayes grow a little bit in his first year on the main roster. Now I didn't see him in NXT, so I don't know what he was back then. But he's more than just a guy who's flashy. You know, you see him do some neat reversals in this, and not just with Andrade, where the two of them have worked together a lot. This, to my knowledge, is maybe the second time he's worked with LA Knight, and there was a big break in between. I think they worked real well together. I mean, there was a time where they traded roll-ups for 2 counts. Let's see, Melo a couple of times countered a blunt force trauma by doing something. One of them was by extending his arms and basically handstanding to prevent the move from executing correctly. And then, LA Knight winds up taking the brunt of the fall there. I love that. Melo counters a blunt force trauma, extends his arms, then pops right up off of the handstand, hits an axe kick and a cutter for a 2 count. That's great work together. Eventually, LA Knight avoids a top turnbuckle move from Melo, then goes for the BFT again. Melo counters it with a backslide for a 2 count. Like, these guys look like they've been on the road together for a few weeks and know this stuff. Eventually, LA Knight avoids another cutter. Melo flips out of an atomic drop attempt, but then he stumbles right into a BFT for a pinfall. This match goes 5.5 minutes of TV time plus a commercial. It's about a 10-minute match. So it was sort of on the shortish side, but great action. Andrade was out there to distract both guys. So Andrade was there in the suit, sort of doing his thing. And both guys are kind of, a little intrigued by what's he doing here. Is he going to interfere? What's going to happen? So I enjoyed the match. Like you said, I'll call it match of the night. Sure.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I like that they both have great chemistry, and I like the clash of styles because with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, it's a very similar style. It feels like Carmelo Hayes is a little bit like a lucha libre without a mask. And that's certainly what you get from Andrade as well, like a bigger lucha libre guy. But as far as, LA Knight versus Carmelo, they're LA Knight, I would almost call him like traditional or old, not necessarily too old school, but like I'm trying to think maybe like the 80s.
He does Irish whips.
He does the Irish whip. He's got like a few gimmick or a few moves that the crowd pops to, like when he slams the head up against the table. Like he plays some of his hits, but he also will just do some big slams sometime, which are a lot of fun.
I love the pop-up power slam where he tilt-a-whirls the guy off the ropes.
Yeah, the pop-up power.
That takes strength. That takes some strength to do. Like that's an old school show us what you got pro wrestling slam.
Yeah, that one was really good, that spot there. And then the only other thing that I wanted to point out was Carmelo Hayes told the crowd to suck it at some point, and I was like, finally, because this is what's been missing: is he goes in, he does his moves, but he doesn't do anything to the crowd, and it's
Yep.
a little bit confusing because he seems like a face because he's very agile and athletic. So he tells the crowd to suck it, and I was like, good job, that a boy. He's been watching the show. He must be watching the show because that's what I've been
He's
asking
watching
him to do.
us, or the man with 3 H's is watching and relaying it to him.
It's got to be the man with 3 H's.
I've consulted with the Deep Wrestling State, and they suggest that you need to do more heel antics in the ring versus the crowd. And Melo's like, oh, okay, yeah, the Deep Wrestling State. Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Right. He was yeah, so the man with 3 H's is fantastic chatter.
Yeah.
And also,
what do you think of the LA Knight top turn elbow drop when first he stands on the second turnbuckle, does the wind check, LA Knight with the crowd, leaps to the top turnbuckle, and then goes right into that elbow drop from there. I think it's a very smooth-looking move. It's a great-looking elbow drop.
Especially to do it in that transition. He doesn't set up and do it. It's like it's a 2-part motion.
Yep.
So you have to get up and then right over on the elbow drop, which is tough.
Yes.
And it flashes a little athleticism that sometimes it looks like he doesn't have. He kind of sometimes, he's a big stocky guy. So he but another
There's something every match he does that shows up like, oh my goodness, he's got some ups. He could probably be a basketball player. Like,
yeah.
If it's not the run across the ring and leap to the top rope for the superplex, it's this, you're on the second rope. So you don't have very good footing there. Like that's a tough leap. Have you ever tried to do that as an indie pro wrestler?
No. I did not do any leapy stuff. I was a heel, pretty traditional heel. So no, actually the high spots I avoided at all costs because I wanted to be like, yes, I am a heel. I am boring.
Yeah.
And then coincidentally, I mean, I just don't necessarily care for it so much all the time. A lot of the flippy stuff. So it worked out pretty well. But I'll tell you what, another good match by Carmelo Hayes, and he's had some good matches with Andrade, and now he had a good one with LA Knight. So I think he feels like a good replacement for Ricochet, or at least on the way where he has a little bit more potential. He's a little newer, and I think he'll slot into Ricochet's spot pretty good.
Could you see him getting a belt for at least a short run at some point? Because Ricochet did.
Yeah.
Gunther beat Ricochet for the Intercontinental title to start that 666-day reign.
Not anytime soon, but he is, like we talk about people that are on schedule or ahead of schedule. Tiffany Stratton, wildly ahead of schedule to be in her early 20s and be this good. It's crazy. He is right on schedule. He's 30 years old. He's right out of NXT. He's good enough. He's good enough at this point. He's got to get something going with the charisma, but he'll get there. He's already showing shades of getting better at the charisma stuff. I think once you get to know him a little better too, it'll all kind of fall into place. So good showing by Carmelo Hayes.
Okay, very good. I have nothing else for this match. I'll agree with you. Match of the night.
Where do we want to go next?
Where to next? Oh, you want to ask me? There we go. See, we're both thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's time to talk about maybe the elephant in the room that is not a match. What's going on with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton? They teased this a few different ways. Kevin Owens appears from the crowd and jumps in the ring before the women's tag team match. And he's got a microphone and he's telling people that, he was told not to be here this week after what happened after Bad Blood, where he beat up Cody Rhodes outside Cody Rhodes' bus after the premium live event went off the air. So that made the rounds on the interwebbies. We had somebody give us a heads up about it while we were doing the live stream recap last Saturday. which turned out to be a very good breaking news there. So thank you to the person who sent that to us.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens, they cut his mic, so he runs to the announce table, grabs Corey Graves' headset right off his head, and puts that on. And he's saying, "Look, you think that I turned on Cody? No. Cody turned on me. Cody turned on me." This brings out Cody Rhodes, of course. And security keeps them apart. Eventually, Randy Orton comes out. He like calms down Cody Rhodes on the entranceway, gets into the ring where Kevin Owens is, and he's trying to calm down Kevin Owens, who wants to go after Cody Rhodes. And eventually, Kevin Owens just doesn't know who's behind him, throws a back elbow at somebody who's trying to restrain him. It turns out it was Randy Orton. So Randy Orton turns Kevin Owens around. They start arguing. Randy hits him with a European uppercut. And Kevin Owens just drops. And at this point, he realizes it's his friend Randy Orton who just flattened him. And then Randy realizes he just flattened his friend. And so, they play this up throughout the show. A little later, backstage, there's Randy Orton and Nick Aldis trying to calm down Cody Rhodes. They're telling Cody, look, get on your bus and leave. Randy's going to go fix things with Kevin Owens. By the way, this show became like the Nick Aldis show. He got so much screen time in so many different ways. And Randy says, look, I'll go fix this with Kevin Owens. And Nick Aldis pats Randy on the shoulder and says, look at you, Randy Orton, voice of reason. Who would have thought? And he walks off, and there's Randy Orton just like burying his face in his hands. So this is an ongoing thing. And sure enough, a little later, while Nick Aldis is doing other stuff as well, out of the corner of his eye, he sees something happens. He runs over, starts calling for security. It looks like Kevin Owens has been attacking Randy Orton. They run Kevin Owens off, and he's calling for medics to come help Randy Orton. So we were wondering, does Kevin Owens just turn on Cody Rhodes? It looks like he did, but that doesn't mean he's going right into a feud with Cody Rhodes. It looks like they're bringing him first into a pretty good feud with Randy Orton. This is going to be a fun thing for two veterans to do that'll be interesting, that doesn't involve a belt, because two veterans like this don't require a belt. I'll give you an example. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Not everything needs a belt to be really cool. If you've got two longtime veteran workers in there. Oh, triple threat at Survivor Series.
I thought the same thing when I saw it all happening.
All the matches at Survivor Series have a low chance of the champion winning. Same will go for you think there'll be a fatal four-way match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, the WWE Women's title that Nia Jax currently holds. Ooh, okay. Nia, Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton, you think will be in the match. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that's what's up for Cody for Survivor Series, or if they just let it be KO and Randy one-on-one and maybe just hash that and see where that goes. But yeah. Okay. Now, if Cody is in that as a title match, is that like a kind of a weak way for Cody to drop the belt if he drops it? Or do you want Cody to retain in that kind of scenario? Because, John, you said you were thinking that same thing. I mean, is that really how you get the belt off of Cody Rhodes?
I mean, if you want to make him look strong, a triple threat is a way to do it. And he doesn't get pinned, and he's not a part of it. So he's got this incentive to come back in WrestleMania. Only because WWE is so long-term, and it's all around basically WrestleMania and their big pay-per-views. I would imagine the triple threat might be they're setting it up for the Royal Rumble.
Okay.
And, there's Crown Jewel.
Crown Jewel is in early November. Then Survivor Series 4 weeks later, the last Saturday in November. There's a Saturday night's main event in primetime on NBC and Peacock in December. And then They're going to play up the first Raw on Netflix as if it's a premium live event.
Wow.
I think The Rock is going to be there. So they've got
Oh,
non-pay-per-views between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble, between the Saturday night's main event and the debut of the $10 billion Netflix deal.
don't be surprised if it's on Netflix then.
Yeah, right.
That Cody would lose the title and it'd be a big deal if they're really trying to pump some stuff into Netflix, a lot of intrigue. You'd be like, wow, somebody lost the title on Raw on Netflix. Or you could even do if they have a Saturday night special on NBC on broadcast TV, maybe then. So there's a lot of different times that he could lose it that could be outside of, Survivor Series. Yeah, Crown Jewel, they won't ever do anything. I don't know. Maybe they will. The
Crown
Saudis,
Jewel is champion versus champion, and it's not for any belts.
it's for a new belt.
It's for just like, hey, you win and you got a trophy.
It's a trophy.
That's the thing the crowd booed at Bad Blood when Triple H came out to tell them about it. It's like, this is a great thing. It's going to be champion versus champion, and no belts are on the line. Boo! Boo!
Yeah, they booed. It's funny. We both read that it's different. I thought they were booing Saudi Arabia, and you just thought they were booing the booking. And I was like, Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, they're probably giving the boos to Saudi Arabia.
Depends on how much they like gasoline.
Well, I'll tell you what.
That's what I got there. In the news business, we would call this a tease, but I'm not going to say any more about this topic. Stay tuned for Cheap Heat.
Yes. All right. Maybe I could pick the next matchup here.
2 more matches and other stuff. What do you like here?
Well, I mean, just an American classic tonight between NXT call-ups, and they didn't have their name on the graphic. It said, like, from NXT on the graphic, and I'm like, who is this? What is their name? And there's a big schmozz before the match, so I'll just say the matchup. It's Jackson and Legend were the 2 last names of the competitors up from NXT versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill in a squash match. And Belair and Jade win the tag match in pretty predictable format. But, I mean, this thing must have gone 2 or 3 minutes. It was
2.5 I had, just about.
It was a tag team squash, the rare tag team squash.
Yes, and Chelsea Green, who was at ringside with Piper Niven, she got a big boot over the announce table from Lash Legend. So the people in this matchup, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, we know. The NXT call-ups were Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. The ghost of Vince McMahon is haunting the WWE. It's Bianca Belair, BB. It's Jakara Jackson, JJ. It's Lash Legend, LL. The only one who did not have an alliteration name is Jade Cargill because she had a name before she got to WWE.
Oh, yeah. All the alliterations. Yeah.
But you could imagine them calling her like, I don't know, Cassie Cargill.
Oh, she would have been Cassie.
Right, so this is the alliteration match. It's the ghost of Vince McMahon. You're right. Lash Legend is huge. She looks bigger than Jade Cargill. She looks like she could give Jade a run for her money.
Lash Legend, I was thinking like Bobby Lashley, and the last name Legend is I don't know why, because I just like Lash Legend. Yeah, we got a chat from the Fixer 1. Cheers.
Oh, the Fixer is back. I've had a considerable amount to drink tonight, but the KO sitch is kind of screwed. I'll tell you what, as the ancient Greek historian Herodotus observed of the ancient Persians, they would often argue an issue drunk and then sober. And they had to come to the same conclusion, drunk and sober, to make sure that, it really made sense to them under both conditions of inebriation and sobriety. So the Fixer, if you've been throwing a few back, tell us when you've sobered up a bit. Does the KO thing look like a weird situation? Because I'm thinking it looks a little weird to sober people too.
I got a couple chats coming through.
There you go. He is not losing before Mania at the earliest.
The
Well,
thing,
we're just wondering if they're going to put him in these title matches beforehand, then there has to be the possibility. Like the great thing about Elimination Chamber 2023 was that you knew Roman Reigns wasn't going to lose before WrestleMania. But if anybody was going to do it, it was going to be Sami Zayn. Like that's what made the match so fun.
yeah.
So if you're going to be throwing Cody into title matches, it can't be a foregone conclusion. Oh, he can't possibly lose this.
Yeah.
There's got to be something to it where these guys wrestle, they're athletic, they put on a great match, and there's got to be a possibility of the outcome. So I'm not saying that means he's going to lose, but there should be just like the possibility. It should be there.
The Fixer won. It's weird, drunk, and sober, if I'm being honest.
There you go. Hirota disapproves.
Right.
Very good. There you would have made an excellent Asian Persian. Very good.
Moving on. So
yeah, we've now talked about the Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill squash of Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend.
It's okay. It's
more than the match lasted.
I will say one thing.
Sure.
Jade gets a tag in. She does the move of doom and does the pin. And it's just like, are we ever going to ever see her wrestle a match? I don't like, it's to a point, and I am not a big trashing the booker guy per se. I think that's it's a little played out on the internet, first of all. Like, I think way too many people put way too much stock into what they think in terms of booking. And
some people might say that we are on the internet.
Right. I'm saying the general internet community. But I will have to say, it's really not doing Jade any favors to see her every week and then see her just kind of do nothing.
Yeah.
So you see her every week. She does nothing. Bianca does all the work. She's carrying her. When are we going to take the training wheels off? It's been almost a year. And if the training wheels can't come off, can we see her go to NXT and learn and then come back up? Because she's young enough, but what are we doing here?
You mentioned ahead of schedule, on schedule. Is Jade Cargill on schedule or below schedule? She's not ahead of schedule.
Not applicable, because I don't know what she can do. It's like an NA. It's almost like she's injured, It's like she comes out, she doesn't do anything. So unless they won't let her even try to do anything, unless you're trusting the powers that be that says she's not ready, I would say only not behind schedule because they're not letting her be on schedule. So it's not that she can't wrestle and I'm trashing that. It's that I don't know what she could do. And it's been a year.
She was the first marquee signing after the TKO merger.
Big time signing. And
they announced it at a premium live event. They had her show up at a premium live event.
And not to mention, she was red hot in the Royal Rumble. When she came in, the crowd popped for her like crazy. It was like, whoa, she is a star. Like, she really has that star thing going for her. And then ever since then, it's just been this downward spiral. Like, her music hits, and it's like people don't even. It's like they walk to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But
her intro is longer than her ring time.
Yeah, for sure.
One more match. What do you got here? It winds up being a non-title match. Nia Jax with Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi.
Mm-hmm.
I already mentioned that Trinity Fatu, Naomi, did the top turn crossbody, got a 2 count out of it. Good looking move there. Nia Jax gets pinned here, but it's a non-title match.
Yeah.
With a little bit of distraction here because, of course, they're playing up the Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel matchup. Liv Morgan, Dominic Mysterio, and Raquel Rodriguez make their way down to ringside after cutting a promo up at the entranceway. And they're sitting ringside for this match, and they wind up getting involved here. Mm-hmm. So they're doing a little build for Crown Jewel and giving a win here to Naomi and making Nia Jax, who's the heel and can lose these things without losing face. She gets beat here. What do you think of how this match plays out here? And of course, there's all sorts of stuff at the end. Rhea Ripley's involved.
Yeah.
But
I wrote in my notes so many people because
So
Rhea
ma-
Ripley is involved as well. At the end, Rhea Ripley comes in. Hey, I kind of like. There's things about the match I wanted to point out here.
yes,
Nia's hip bump in the corner was really cool, and I really liked it because they utilized something that a lot of people don't think to utilize, which is sound. So she does the hip bump, and one way or the other, either Naomi hits the post or Nia Jax hits the post. You hear a big smack of the post, and it's really loud. So I like that.
that was the one on the apron.
Yeah, it's like when
Nia ran across
ran.
the apron. Yes,
exactly.
and they made it so that she was squashing Naomi's head against the ring post. Yes,
it looked nasty.
It looked nasty, and like you said, great call out. It sounded nasty.
Yeah. So, and then I do have a minus here. I just said
Okay.
it looks like they were a little lost at certain points. Like it looked like Nia Jax thought she might be like kicking her in the head, and then she kicked her in the stomach. So she's reacting a little weird. There was just like I could see that they were a little lost. They picked it back up, but they got a little lost there. They might have been calling it in the ring and just kind of got lost, which is okay. But they got back on track. It wasn't like they had all the spots set up, but they got to where they needed to be, and they eventually steadied the ship. But
so many people. If you don't have, if you have more moves, we'll go through them. But if not, I want to ask you about the so many people.
one more thing I wanted to point out because it's one of
Yes.
my favorite things that I saw the night. Nia Jax goes outside and she calls the timeout, which is my thing that I did as the bomber constantly. I never see anyone do it.
Heel move.
Calling timeout on the outside when there's no timeouts in wrestling.
There's no timeouts in here. It's the kind of thing that the crowd can see, right? Everybody can see you making the T. Right?
Yeah, so they can sell shit to you. Be like, oh no. That's not
right? You don't get timeouts in wrestling.
This is a little off topic, and we'll maybe we could jump into the rest of the match in a bit, but I wanted to give the fixer.
There we go. So you think 5-on-5? There's got to be Cody Rhodes, Jimmy and Jay, Roman Reigns, and the Viper Randy Orton. Does that mean Kevin Owens is going to be on the new Bloodlines team?
Oh,
because that means you need 5 on the Bloodline 2.0.
Oh, and then this is probably right. At the end, Randy will RKO Cody to win it, or at the very end of the match.
Okay, so if you think Survivor Series is going to include Cody Rhodes in the War Games match and Randy Orton in the War Games, I think Randy and Kevin Owens have to have a feud. I think it has to boil over with the two of them. Randy and Cody are BFFs.
Yeah, because they're going to be the two
time
big
for greatness. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Does that mean Randy Orton gets a title run?
I would say I think that they're going to be like, now you're going to have Cody or KO move out. Yeah, I think
it's crowded at the top.
Yeah, it is crowded at the top. A fatal 3-way for the title.
Okay, so the triple threat for the title. Okay. All right, that's a lot of fantasy booking there.
We got
that's two premium live events away.
Yeah.
All right.
We got the man with 3 H's. No, thank you.
He's watching. So the fixture. Thank you for the call out there. Same thing for you, Nick. The man with 3 H's. At any moment, he could be watching. Don't bury the lead. So perhaps your ideas are making it into a boardroom in Stamford, Connecticut, or wherever they're headquartered now.
Yeah. So I went through all the stuff with Nia Jax and Naomi. Did you want to add anything else?
Just that I like how they got to the point where Nia gets pinned again.
Mm-hmm.
She got pinned by Bayley and Naomi together in that tag match, and she brought it up to us like the only reason I got pinned is it took two of you to pin me. You can't pin me on your own. And that's
Right.
when Naomi says, "Well, I'll beat you tonight." And then Nia Jax says, "Well, then let's get a ref down here. I want to wrestle you." There you go, impromptu match. I like it. And they wind up wrestling. At some point, Tiffany Stratton goes to hit Naomi with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Raquel Rodriguez stops her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a distraction there. And then later in the match, Raquel Rodriguez runs around the other side of the ring, distracts the ref, allowing Liv Morgan to use the Money in the Bank case that they now have stolen from Tiffany Stratton, who's down on the outside of the ring, and wallop Nia Jax with it a couple times as Nia is going for an annihilator. That's what allows Naomi to recover and then use the rope-assisted power bomb on Nia Jax and then stack her up for the pinfall. And then afterwards, as the heels, Liv, Raquel, and Dominic Mysterio are making their way back up the ramp and, of course, looking towards the ring, whose music hits? Rhea Ripley's. And she's taken out Raquel. She chases Liv back to the ring. She takes out Liv. She takes out Nia while she's in the ring. Big shot to Nia to send Nia sprawling out of the ring. So really, it's Rhea Ripley standing tall in the ring after all this is said and done.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was last Crown Jewel where I think that was when I said to you, has anybody had a better 2023 than Rhea Ripley? Because it was that show, Crown Jewel, where they had like a fatal 6-woman match where Rhea Ripley retained. Nia Jax was in that match. Rhea retained, and they made her look like, an ancient Mesopotamian goddess. She came out riding the chariot, hoisted with the men carrying her in, and she looked every bit of that star in the ring. So it's funny, a year later, she doesn't have the belt. She's had a couple of injury problems, including one major one that caused her to drop the belt storyline-wise so that she could recover kayfabe, recover in real life. But here we are going into Crown Jewel, and it looks like, she doesn't have a belt, but Rhea Ripley owns the women's division again.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell you what, pretty good stuff so far. Anything you want to talk about? There's a lot of backstage stuff, so maybe I'll kick it to you, Dom.
Yeah, there was a lot of backstage stuff. Again, it's the Nick Aldis show. Everybody wants Nick Aldis' ear in this one. And he's giving it to him. He's making matches. He's calming down some people who are a little too excited. Eventually, I like that he's telling Carmelo Hayes that he and Andrade are going to have a Game 7. And he tells Melo, "Don't miss," which is a play on Melo's catchphrase, "Melo, don't miss." Legado del Fantasma appears. Nick Aldis tells the tag team there, Angel and Humberto, that they'll have a tag match next week against a surprise team. But if they win, they may be climbing the ladder towards a title shot. He's trying to calm down the Street Profits and DIY, who each want a shot at the tag team title belts again and think the other cost them their shot at the triple threat match that took place before Bad Blood. So if anything, it looks like the men's tag team division on SmackDown is healthy. We've got some real tag teams. That's a good development, I think. Liv versus Rhea is a dead cert at this time. Come on. Eventually, we're going to get Liv versus Rhea. We first have to get Liv versus Nia Jax. Now, I wonder if, as they've teased, Nia Jax beats Liv Morgan at Crown Jewel, and that's when Tiffany Stratton gets to cash in on Liv Morgan and take the Women's World Championship off of Liv Morgan. I wonder if Rhea Ripley would stop that from happening because that's her belt and she wants the shot at Liv.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that we may have more to go with Rhea versus Liv.
Oh yeah, that's not done. That's
I
going to
think
keep
we have
going.
more to go there. So lots of storylines. They're crossing the streams. It's the Ghostbusters. They're crossing the storylines. It's between the two brands. It's Raw. It's SmackDown. I'm confused.
I was so happy to see Dirty Dom.
He's such a heat magnet whenever he's on the screen.
Yeah, we haven't because we don't watch Raw,
No,
so he's a treat. It's like the two people you're definitely missing. I was like Gunter and Dom Mysterio.
yep.
And every time you see him in the pay per view, he's tearing it up, and you're like, man, I wish I was seeing him every week. But hey, Dom, I don't have much more for this show. How about you?
I don't think so either. There's
Totally
a lot of
agreed.
action in the rings.
Mhm.
But there was also a lot of backstage segments. So it was I think they packed a lot into this. It seemed pretty well balanced. I mean, having one kind of squashy match probably helped, but the U.S. Championship match went a good 10 minutes. Nia Naomi went a little more than 10 minutes, and the main event match went near the 15-minute range.
Yeah, and Dom, as we're kind of
I think it's
narrowing
drive
down.
time.
Yeah, I think it's drive time. I
It's
think it's
drive
drive
time.
time.
It's time for the thumb drive, where you and I are gonna use these opposable digits there on our hands to distill this entire show into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. You are taking this course. Pass, fail.
Dom, we're not Dave Meltzer. We're not 7 stars at the Tokyo Dome. We're not 1 star on Sunday Night Heat. No, 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 no. You take this a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's what we're going to be doing. Thumbs up, thumbs down. No stars. So ready?
I am ready, my friend.
3, 2, 1. Oh, thumbs up. Yeah, this is an easy thumbs up for me. Dom, what did you think? Why'd you give this a thumbs up?
Fun show, and we got an LA Knight title match, and it delivers. If that's going to be the norm going forward, that LA Knight is that U.S. title belt is going to be the TV championship that gets defended a lot on TV, and we get to see it, and it's around the waist of a guy who's that great, who can deliver. Then, yeah, I mean, they got a lot done. There was a lot of action, and we got an LA Knight title match. I like it.
Oh, we got 3 thumbs up.
There we go. The Fixer gives it a thumbs up as well. I like it.
Yeah. From my perspective, let me tell you something. The thumbs up was way easy for me because LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes was good, really good. And I was like, this is all I kind of want from SmackDown. It's just like a good TV match. That was good enough. Like Jay Cargill and the NXT call-ups, sure, that's not great, but then the rest of the stuff is pretty good. We have a main event match between Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, like a match at the end. That's stuff I like. So pretty easy for me to give it a thumbs up, and yeah, strong SmackDown for sure. So we give it 2 thumbs up, and I'll tell you what, Dom, is it getting a little hot in here, even though it's cooling down in South Jersey?
It is. This is a warm weekend, though. It got back into the 70s, nice and sunny today. Same thing for Sunday.
Mhm.
It's like we're getting a little bit of summer back here in mid-October. It's hot. It may even be cheap. Is it time for cheap heat?
Dom, it is time for cheap heat. And let me waffle here as I am clicking into the background. Dom, it's time for cheap heat. Cheap heat is where we basically talk about WWE, AEW, other trending stories in the pro wrestling world. It's kind of our bread and butter on YouTube. We had a couple people on Twitch earlier, which is really cool to see. So
Very
if you're
good.
on Twitch, check us out on YouTube. That's really our home base. We hit the first level of monetization on YouTube, which is really exciting. We're probably around the corner from getting monetization where we get ad revenue, which is exciting. And basically, it's all built through just talking about trending topics and making these smaller, cut up, edited videos. So we do a full length show and then we'll cut it down. We've been releasing the full length show. Sometimes we got some pretty positive reaction from the full length show.
Yeah,
but
this was your idea back when we have been doing Don't Bury the Lead for a few months at that point. And, it just kind of made sense because you and I, we're busy people. There's a lot of wrestling on. So we only really recap one show a week. But we know the wrestling world is bigger than one show and even one promotion. So Cheap Heat gives us a chance to, as we say, go to WWE, maybe some AEW, and beyond. We'll see. Was that the fixer there with an LA Knight? Yeah.
Yeah, we will take this chat all day because we love
Right.
LA Knight. We're
LA Knight, yeah, leap up to the top rope, elbow drop.
Listen, if there's anything we have going for us, we have been on LA Knight's train from the very beginning. So
the very first Don't Bury the Lead.
But without further
very one.
the very first one. Dom, without further ado, maybe let's talk about the first article you have up here.
We alluded to this earlier, thanks to some chats that to broach this subject. It's WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. This comes to us from Coming Soon. WWE reportedly planning huge match for WrestleMania 41, and the rumors are flying because of what happened at the end of Bad Blood, where The Rock came out, stood in the entranceway, stared into the ring where Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes were with Jimmy Uso, and The Rock gave the 1, 2, 3 sign. Mm-hmm. They're thinking triple threat for WrestleMania, Rock, Roman, Cody. So that's why I don't think Cody loses before WrestleMania if this rumor here is true. This is coming to us from Coming Soon here. The Rock has to be involved at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And not only because he's on the board and can just do that, and because he probably has it in his contract that he makes another $9 million if he makes an appearance. The Rock is a superstar, not just in wrestling, but anywhere else. So if he's willing to do that and he's willing to build to it for several months, I can see this. Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Roman Reigns on the table for WrestleMania 41. What do you think, John?
It's crazy to think about because with that triple threat, are you going to give Rock's old ass the belt? Like Rock's been out of wrestling for so long, and he kind of comes back. But and I'll go ahead and say it, to the Fixer's point, that would be massive. Like that would be everyone would want to see that. You would have people that are throwback, really interested in it, and then even people that are like, oh man, 90s guy is going to be in the main event. And then you're going to have people that are watching today that are like, oh, I love Roman Reigns or I love Cody Rhodes. You're going to love one of them, right? So,
or you're going to find superhero movie people who are like, The Rock, really? He's wrestling in the main event?
I've never watched wrestling. I've only seen the movie. Yeah, man, we've been fantasy booking a lot tonight, but I don't even know who'd win. I mean, you have to kind of think. I mean, if Roman Reigns wins, it's like he just had the title for 3 years. You're gonna give him another huge run.
Yeah, finally getting his babyface run.
Yeah.
Or something happens in that match, Cody retains, and it's Rock Roman for SummerSlam, which next year for the first time will be a 2-night event.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's our fantasy booking where The Rock.
Because it's 4 months later, end of April to end of August. You're talking 4 months later. If The Rock's going to have maybe like a 6-month run, he could do that.
Well, Interesting.
I still think there's got to be animosity between The Rock and Roman Reigns, right?
Which I'm sure
something bloodline related.
It'll be easy to drum up because they've already been a very bad rivalry for a while, and they're almost still a little on thin ice, right? They barely respect each other.
Yes. Barely respect each other. The Rock is still doing the final boss thing. It's like they're competing with, alpha male titles. Tribal chief, head of the table, final boss. I have my own belt.
The best is The Rock comes out with his own belt.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
He walks out like you're going, wait, how does he have a belt? What? Who did he beat?
We had a guy in the indies that would wear his own belt, and no one would really like tell him like, hey, you can't just wear a belt if you can't just give yourself a belt. And he was one of the managers. It was a big German belt. And I was what is this? And he wasn't necessarily German. He just had a German belt. I was like, what are you doing? You're a manager. Rex, what a piece of work. He won't watch this, don't worry.
Well, and if he does, he now knows that he is recalled fondly.
Yes, I do think highly of him because of that, because it's hilarious.
So we'll go from good news for WrestleMania to Vince McMahon. This made the AP wire, the Associated Press. Woman accusing Vince McMahon of sexual abuse asked WWE to waive confidentiality agreements. This is an interesting wrinkle. You're thinking, why would the WWE waive confidentiality? Like, they're not asking Vince McMahon to waive confidentiality. They seem to be asking TKO Holdings to waive confidentiality, meaning if it's true that Vince McMahon was using company funds for these payoffs, then he technically is not in control of these non-disclosure agreements. The company is. And so the plaintiff in this suit is trying to play the card onto TKO Holdings like, hey, do you want this to go away? Do you want to be rid of this story and to distance yourself from it as completely as you can?
Yeah.
Your company now owns the rights to that NDA. Waive it. Let people testify and show that you guys want no part of what Vince McMahon was involved in. I think it's an interesting negotiating tactic, and I wonder if it'll work.
That's crazy because Vince, it might be in TKO's best interest because TKO could say, hey, not only are we not involved anymore, we're doing the right thing. We're letting the victim speak up. We're the good guys here. Go get Vince. And it's no reason to protect Vince. And then that, I'm sure there's a lot in there with the confidentiality agreements that are just nuts.
NDAs against other former employees is what she wants. She wants to be able to establish that there's a pattern of this behavior.
Oh.
But so far, she's the only one coming forward because Vince didn't pay her enough money.
Yes.
He promised her $3 million and only made good on $1 million.
Yeah. So, and even if they get those NDAs removed, then it's going to be a free-for-all. Women are like, yeah, I signed an NDA, I got paid, but this is what happened, And I don't think the public's going to think too poorly about that, right? They're going to be like, okay, if you don't have, you want to tell the truth, tell the truth. Why not?
This comes from one of Janelle Grant's attorneys, Ann Callis. If WWE and its parent company Endeavor are serious about parting ways with Vince McMahon and the toxic workplace culture he created, their executives should have no problem with releasing former WWE employees from their non-disclosure agreements. This is the first step to rehabilitating a company that covered up decades of sexual assault and human trafficking. So yes, this is them trying to play who's left at the publicly traded corporation against Vince McMahon. Seems like a good negotiating strategy as long as the truth gets out. If people were harmed, then if this is the way for them to get some I don't know. I mean, there's no way to undo an assault.
Yeah,
But
right.
if this is a way to, you know, publicize this enough where it acts as a deterrent to it happening again.
Yeah, it could be a deterrent for things in the future because honestly, it was happening as early as 2 years ago. It wasn't like something that was happening in the 80s and then just totally dropped off and stopped. It's like no, these accusations are like are 2 years ago. It's nothing like that. So
It
it's still
started in the 80s, but it's continuing.
yeah. I'm saying like it still probably is happening in different companies today because
Yeah,
it
sure.
was happening in the WWE now. But before we hop off here and jump on to the next topic, the Fixer has something.
Very good. The Fixer.
Here I clicked the wrong one. Sorry.
Roman is babyface. You think Cody Rhodes is turning heel?
Yeah.
Wow.
Is due
Cody
for a
is
heel
due
turn.
for a heel turn. It's been an interesting babyface run for Cody Rhodes because he's been a babyface for 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Right, since he's been back. It's almost 3 years. It's 2.5 years since he's been back. He's been a babyface the whole time. He's managed to be not just the vanilla babyface that everybody likes, but he's also become more of a grittier babyface. So I wonder if one thing about modern pro wrestling, if something is getting stale, they will not hesitate to switch a guy babyface to heel.
Mm-hmm.
Or vice versa, heel to babyface.
And then here's another one.
I don't know if anyone was unwillingly involved. Yeah, I mean that's part of this is, the reason why people trade favors for promotions is because there are some people who want promotions and are willing to trade favors.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It could be unsavory and distasteful and the kind of thing that you wouldn't do, but yeah, there are people willing to make those trades.
Yeah.
In their professional lives.
Here's the thing, though. So I think it's just a pattern of the way that he's gone about it, more so, where he develops relationship with the woman, and it's supposed to be like a regular relationship. And then when that relationship gets developed, he can hang their life right in front of their eyes because he can say, "Oh, give her a big raise," or "Hell, fire her." And she's in such a poor financial situation that suddenly, hey, I was just dating this guy, and now my life's over because, I have, unless I do the right thing and do whatever he says, or I'm not going to have any money coming to me.
It's the power imbalance. Like Vince owns the company; he's your boss.
He's your boss.
So that's the problem. Is it ever? It's not like somebody actually made this work and got all the way into the C-suite.
Mm-hmm.
And is now chief financial officer or something because they slept their way up. That didn't happen. Vince always kept the power dynamic, him way up here, and it seems them way down here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doubtful that that's really consensual.
Yeah, that's where there's a weird gray area. So, and I think it is debatable, but from my perspective, it's like it totally makes sense because it's not an equal relationship or partnership that they've developed. It's like, oh, I have money. He kind of at first makes it seem like we're gonna get together and then suddenly he can pivot to, hey, listen, you got to do this, or I'm gonna just fire you. And then it's like, whoa, that came out of nowhere, right? So he manipulates.
You're a young employee. The boss is giving you attention, and suddenly it turns a little bit, and then later on it turns even more.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's the situation she was in. But
Vince McMahon, the king of the babyface to heel turn on his employees.
Yes, he turned right because he's a babyface because she's actually interested in him and they're kind of dating a little bit, and then suddenly once he's got his claws in, he just bites down and starts to kill him. So
his life is a shoot and a work. We've said it before many, many times during Cheap Heat.
Yes, Vince's life is a shoot and a work. So after that very happy topic, what do we got next here?
An actual happy topic. It's about the AEW TV deal. A little celebrating here in AEW. Chris Jericho saying they proved the experts wrong. This comes to us from Fightful Select with the new AEW TV deal. And he's really pumping this up and saying this is kind of historic here. Warner Brothers Discovery didn't want us to go anywhere. And you can see $185 million a year for a company that's only been going 5 years. That's never happened before. Obviously, WWE is the gold standard. They didn't have a deal like this 5 years in. So he's saying, on schedule, ahead of schedule. AEW, as far as being able to land big money deals, looks like they're on or ahead of schedule as a wrestling promotion. Now, whether or not that's turning into profitability is another matter. But they're getting noticed and people want to do business with them. And Chris Jericho, whom Tony Khan has previously said he wasn't sure if AEW could have launched without Jericho's involvement. Like, Jericho is still such a homer for AEW. We know that people on the internet, I've been told there are people on the internet, John. Some people on the internet do not like Chris Jericho having this much of the limelight at his age, this stage of his career. But there really is no doubt that he really is behind AEW, and he cheers for them, and he tries to really promote the company. And, this was him going on Busted Open Radio and just talking up how great this deal is for AEW and what it proves about them, and how, they prove the experts wrong. What say you about Jericho? You seem to have a more even keel take on Chris Jericho, and you watch AEW more than I do. Tell us in the chat, tell us in the comments, what do you think about this deal in Jericho's comments? But John, of course, you're kind of our resident expert in AEW.
Yeah. So I do like that he puts experts in quotations, because I had mentioned this before, but so many people were just praying for their downfall for some reason. Like, oh, they're not profitable. They're the next TNA. They're the next WCW. And no, they certainly aren't, because $185 million a year is a big contract, and they're certainly profitable as a result of it. And I've even seen people who are saying, well, they're so stupid, they'll probably start spending money and then they won't be profitable anymore. And it's like, oh, will you give up? Like, will you just stop it? Like,
speaking of which, some of the first fruits of this, Swerve Strickland officially finalizes one of the most lucrative wrestling contracts in the industry with AEW. So, frankly, that's what you're supposed to do with your money.
Yes.
Is reinvest it into your product.
And
if that means signing is Swerve Strickland worth the big contract? What say you, John?
I don't know the terms of the contract, but he certainly is a top guy with AEW. He would definitely be a top guy in WWE. He can talk on the mic. He's got a very, very unique character, and I think it's a character that will strike a chord with younger people. He is a cool guy. That's the only way I can describe it. He's actually cool. A young guy that's actually cool. He has kind of a hipster rocker look to him. And, he is great in the ring. He's got a hilarious manager. So I have been really high on Swerve when he first came in. Well, when he first came in, I was like, oh, I kind of like this guy's gimmick. Like, he's cool. And sometimes in wrestling, like, that's impossible to do. It's very hard to find someone that's cool. You look at WWE, honestly, Cody Rhodes. I'm not really like he's very cool. He's a great guy, but he's not cool. There's like some guys that have that it factor, that cool factor, and he's got that. I think I don't know what the terms of the contract are, but it seems like they have some money to spend. And it seems like, and I know WWE was trying to get Swerve, so I feel like they were competing for him. There's contracts up, and they gave him the big money, because AEW continues to outbid WWE straight up. They're paying more money to their wrestlers than WWE is paying to their wrestlers.
Ooh, real? Okay, well let's jump ahead then, because I saw this from Wrestle Purist. Rhea Ripley is one of the people renegotiating her contract, And it was kind of at WWE's request, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Maybe they were afraid that if they let her contract play out, that AEW would make a run for her. So they had her renegotiate it. They say that she's locked in for 5 years at a considerable raise in salary. That comes from PW Insider, relayed from Wrestle Purists over on Twitter X. We were asked starting a wrestling promotion. Maybe it was by the Fixer last week. Who would you select? And you said Tiffany Stratton as a female wrestler, which is a great pick if you're looking 10 years ahead. I said Rhea Ripley just because of a right now factor. Yeah, she's got 5 good years left in her, barring injury, of course, and catastrophic things.
Yeah. I got
Rhea Ripley.
I like this line from the Fixer. Money spent wisely is money spent well.
There you go. So in both cases, you think this is a good idea of just shoring up your own talent who you have plans for?
Oh, this is a great idea for WWE because they've lost talent. They lost Edge, aka Adam Copeland, and he was a big part of their roster. Although he was on the older side, and I feel like he's had an impact, but got injured in AEW. So we'll see what happens with him. I did a video on his injury. Go check that out on YouTube.
Yes, if you're watching on Twitch, on Twitter, or any other live stream, find Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube. That's where our motherload of content is. Not only these live streams and not only the archived recordings of these live streams after we go off the air, but also, John, you make these great edited clips of our shows and even the shorts, which are the sub 60-second clips. All of that stuff is on the YouTube channel. So give us a subscribe there. There's also a join button there. That's new. You can join for extra perks and extra support, which, of course, we always appreciate as well. So, yes, we haven't mentioned that enough in this live stream so far.
Yeah, and
we have people watching different places. Find us on YouTube. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube.
And I did want to go back, Dom. We were talking a little bit about AEW's contract.
Yep. Back to Swerve. There we go.
So I think Swerve was a good signing, and I think it's cool to see, and I agree with Tony Khan that this never would have happened without Chris Jericho. He was a huge part of it. He's a little stale right now, and I think he could get 6 months away, and he came back after 6 months. People would be freaking out again. He's just a little stale, but there's nothing. But he's been really good. I still kind of like his gimmick, the learning tree gimmick, which is a new. He does a great job, just kind of always mixing up his gimmick. So now he comes out and he says, "Hi, folks. Hi," and he waves like this, and it's so annoying because he's like, "It's me, Chris Jericho. I'm the learning tree. I'm going to be teaching you how to be a better person."
Oh, he's got to go away for 6 months, and he's got to come back with his own belt, and he's got to call himself the Final Exam.
The Final Exam. Yes, book it, Tony.
Tony Khan, are you watching us?
I hope not, because Wrestle Dream's on right now. So,
hey, he could go backstage and keep an eye on things.
True.
There you go. The final. Chris Jericho is the Final Exam. There we go. So good signing, but AEW locking up key young talent for long term. WWE locking up key young talent for long term. I like it. Speaking of WWE, we asked last week. Drew McIntyre did not look like he bladed. Turns out he did not blade during that Hell in a Cell match. He got busted open from that toolbox that CM Punk hit him with. I wonder if that was just, call it on the fly in the match. Like Drew got legitimately busted.
Dom, I did a breakdown about this too today.
Yes.
And I will be releasing that tomorrow as I got flagged for adult contact. So I needed to edit the video a little bit and resubmit it.
Oh, okay,
I used the F word in it, and they got me for that.
You said fake?
I said
It's
that
not fake, John. He's got those are staples in his head. Pro wrestling is real. NASCAR is fake.
We know that. That's the first shirt we're making, obviously.
If only we were ready for the election, it could be pro wrestling is real, democracy is fake.
Oh, yeah, that would be a banging election T-shirt. Wow.
Lawn signs for people. I saw one today while out for a walk. This is real cheap heat. It said Larry David 24. Pretty, 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 pretty good.
I wanted to pop this up because the fixer just said it. Drew needs a title run.
Some people have been saying he's been doing the best work of his career. This is Drew McIntyre from his X account. I saw red. Like he was legitimately bleeding here.
Ugh.
He was crazy bleeding. And he went a long time busted open. Busted open on the top of his head in this match.
I do have to say, as much as you don't want to see the wrestlers get hurt, I think this added to the match, the amount of blood coming out the hard way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things where the hard way cuts are the ones that, those are the best ones you can get because they're legit. You're not just taking a knife and slicing your face, but they hurt a lot. and
this one looked like it could have been dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Like this could have been concussion protocol as well as needing staples and stitches.
Yeah, I was seeing a little discourse, a conversation really about this, and it was like Finn Balor was wrestling Adam Copeland, Edge at the time in WWE, and he was having all kinds of problems kind of standing up and stuff. He had hit his head really hard, and they kind of like slowed the match down. They made sure he was all right. For this one, it was surprising that they didn't slow it down, but he just pushed through it.
He pushed. Yeah, Finn Balor's another guy who really gives his all. He's a guy I've been impressed with, even though we don't see him a lot on SmackDown. But yeah, this,
the fixer saying
it makes you appreciate Drew more, I think, because of what he's gone through. I mean, at this stage of his career, he doesn't need to be doing this, but he's doing some of the best work of his career. And I think that if he gets another even world title run, you're saying Intercontinental US, even if he gets another world title run, and this time for longer than 5 minutes, I think he'd be well worth it.
Yeah, I think he's even probably, I'd rather see him instead of US or Intercontinental, one of the big belts.
One of the world titles, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So this came to us from WrestleZone here. So thank you for that report. Related to this match, CM Punk from WrestleZone. He met the person who made his friendship bracelet, at least the first time. He gifted her a friendship bracelet that he made, which was nice. So of course, one of the friendship bracelets was destroyed as part of the story angle. But this lady, Victoria, she was gifted a bracelet with the date of Bad Blood and Bad Blood on it from CM Punk. So this is one of those, neat things between a wrestler and someone who's legitimately a fan. This is a pretty cool story. I like this kind of stuff. She got to meet CM Punk briefly backstage, so this is also neat. And then, of course, the match goes off and CM Punk wins. So fun stuff here between a little breaking down the kayfabe there between a wrestler and a fan.
Oh, that's awesome. So she gave him the bracelet, and then he turned that into a storyline? That's what the storyline was from?
Yeah, I guess he used it so often and wore it on screen that became the storyline. And, of course, it got destroyed, so he needed a new one, and then he made her one and gifted it to her.
That's amazing.
Bad Blood. So because they were able to meet briefly during the Bad Blood festivities, so he gave her this bracelet. This is a pretty neat.
That's some amazing babyface stuff right there.
Right, that's a babyface move. So if he's supposed to be heel, it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Right, John, as the Bonsall Street Bomber, did you ever give anybody a fun little heartfelt memento?
As a matter of fact, I have.
All right.
I would come out smoking a cigarette, and when I would come out smoking the cigarette, I would hand it to someone as I went into the ring. And I would always try to find someone who I knew that didn't smoke, and I'd give them the cigarette. They'd be like, Oh, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? So
Oh, bonus points if it's a little kid.
give the cigarette to a child.
Like make like you're gonna hand it to the adult and then just like lower it and look right at the kid and hand it to an 8-year-old.
Sometimes I would look around.
Hold this for me.
Sometimes I couldn't find a good person to give the cigarette to. Like it just didn't make sense, and I would give it to Big Steve, who was the bell guy and the ring announcer, because I know he smokes. He knows what to do with it. But like if I could get it to someone, I would give it to him. And I try to do it like to a person there that like I knew, and that would not be comfortable with it. Because not like a person that smokes. No, it's someone that.
What a
doesn't want to smoke.
wonderful heel move to engage the audience.
Hey, no, that's my gift to them. A cigarette they don't want.
I love it. A little bit more CM Punk stuff. This is also from WrestleZone. You could tell because they use the exact same stock photo of CM Punk for both articles. Hey, it's the news business. I get it. He was asked on the No Contest Wrestling podcast, pick 4 wrestlers that you would want to help him get out of a bar fight situation. He clarified it was current day stars and not all time, or he would have picked the famously tough Haku, but that was disallowed. You got to pick current people. His choices. One was Samoa Joe. His other 3, Braun Breaker, Shayna Baszler, in case there's a woman involved, and Braun Strowman. And he said all for obvious reasons. What do you think of that collection of 4 there?
The Shayna Baszler one made me think, oh, weird. But that's a great point. If there's a woman involved with the fight, then you were going to need a tough woman to fight the woman. So yeah. Shayna Baszler is a legit MMA person. So that checks a box. Braun Breaker, for sure, a collegiate athlete in football. So, and he seems like a pretty legit tough guy. Braun Strowman, just huge, very strong. And did he also say Samoa Joe?
Samoa Joe, yes. And in fact, he said, so one more, does it have to be somebody in WWE? And he said, Samoa Joe. And then he said, there have been, I don't know about statute of limitations, but there have been situations in the early 2000s where maybe somebody who looked a lot like me and somebody who looked a lot like Samoa were in similar situations to what you're describing.
Okay, so he knows firsthand why you chose him.
You know, and he was saying Braun Strowman, for obvious reasons, it was something like, yeah, if we need somebody to clear a path for us and get out of there, like you're following Braun Strowman.
Yeah, maybe he didn't say Brock Lesnar due to the fact that, I don't know, he's kind of on the rocks at the moment. But Brock Lesnar would 100% be, if I'm picking a pro wrestler, I'm thinking he's the toughest pro wrestler I can think of.
Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley.
But you would go, yeah. What are your 4? Let's hear them.
Oh, probably Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Shayna Baszler is a good one for the reasons of, you know, in case there's a problem with the woman there. And, I mean, Braun Breaker's not a bad choice. Braun Breaker.
I'm going to go ahead and say Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, instead of Shayna Baszler, Ronda Rousey for my woman.
She's retired though. Like he couldn't use Haku.
Oh, yeah. So then you'd have to go Shayna by default then. And then for men, I would go Dolph Ziggler. I know he's a good amateur wrestler.
Oh.
And let's think of one more.
Well, that's 4. So you're picking new people out of the crowd here.
Oh, I'd have to pick. Okay, that's all 4 of them.
That's 4 of them.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler, Brock Lesnar. Oh, yeah, we'd be killing people.
we get out of town safely, right?
Oh, we got
Unless
another
there's
one.
Someone who knows Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
Lashley, Leonard, Gunther, and Shayna Baszler. Leonard.
Lesnar, he meant.
Oh, okay. Lashley, Lesnar, Gunther. Okay. And Shayna Baszler. Very good. All right. I like it. Thank you for that one. Yes.
That's a fun
So
game, and I think I'll make a
it's
video
a
out of
fun.
that.
It's a new wrinkle on the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers.
Yeah, the
If
Fixer.
you're in a bar fight and
Look
you
out
need some
for
help.
look out for our channel. I'll probably make a video about that little segment we did there, and I'll include you in it. So, thanks for your
Excellent.
contribution.
Let's talk. Diamond Dallas Page had such a great time at Bad Blood that he last night was different. When I got home tonight, I signed my Legends deal and sent it in. Apparently, he'd been sitting on an offer to sign a WWE Legends deal, and he didn't want to do it. When he was invited to Bad Blood in Atlanta, he said, got to the building, spent quality time with Cody Rhodes, had all Legends pretty busy as well. I want to thank Paul Levesque, Triple H, for a hell of a time. With him at the helm of creative new owners, I personally had one of my favorite times at a WWE event. Knowing my Hall of Fame career was made in WCW, regardless of how many close friends I had there at WWE, I never felt totally welcome. But this time he did. The legends weren't just seen as guys and girls who used to be wrestlers. Last night we were seen as true legends, superstars from the past that paved the way. Treated with the ultimate respect and kindness from everyone, which I believe is all we're really looking for. We love what we did. We're extremely proud of it. Many of us are beaten and broken, but we wouldn't have had it any other way. So that was it. You know, the way he was treated at Bad Blood last night, I got home and I signed my Legends deal and sent it in. We saw a lot of stars at this. They called some out. We recognized them here. Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard from the Four Horsemen. Here's DDP with them and CM Punk backstage. There's Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I don't know who this is. Does anybody know who this is? Tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comments. With DDP there. There he is again, it looks like, with Jacob Fatu. They're giving the diamond cutter sign. So, you know, the modern wrestlers, they know the diamond cutter sign. They know the diamond cutter sign. Huge cheers from the crowd when he's introduced there in Atlanta, as well it should have been. Great shots, and you know these guys who gave a lot to the business, they feel like they're still welcomed at the top levels of the industry. That's what the Legends deal is for, right?
Yeah. Very cool that they do this, honestly. And I'd have to say, you know, it is cool that they do this. And I think DDP said all the right things about the event. Maybe they're a little inflated or, exaggerated, but, you get on that Legends deal, you're working for the company, you want to say the right things. So he definitely said the right things there. Cool that they did it, and they get to go to the shows and they get to hang out. It's no pressure. It's not like they're working or they got to take bumps. They just wave.
And then there's Rob Van Dam. This comes to us from WrestleZone.
Yeah, and this is DDP. Is an amazing guy in and out of the ring.
Yes, if you've heard of DDP Yoga and the way he's helping people rehabilitate from injuries and even some addictions, yes.
Totally seems like it. Agreed. Sorry, go ahead, Dom.
Yeah. Rob Van Dam is apparently on a Legends deal. This comes to us from WrestleZone. He shares how he's got a WWE Legends deal and still gets to wrestle one-offs with AEW.
Wow.
The first of thing to note is that, yes, he doesn't actually have a contract long-term with AEW. It's just one-offs. I'm not under contract. I sign a per-match contract with them, which I've done maybe 5 or 6 times. His use in AEW is limited. They can't put me in video games, action figures, stuff like that. So you could say it's limited on both ends, or you could say I got both ends going, best of world worlds. Or you could say that RVD just does whatever he wants.
That sounds a very RVD statement.
Yes, F4W Wrestling Online there for the transcription of, the well-named Cheap Heat podcast with Peter Rosenberg. He calls his entire podcast Cheap Heat, not just one segment. So yeah, apparently RVD figured out a way to be a WWE Legends deal signee and every now and then just show up in AEW and wrestle. If it works for you, RVD, there you go. You're a big RVD fan. You've mentioned that before, right?
Yeah, and reasons like this statement he just had. He's probably stoned as hell saying this, and he's just like, look, I could just do whatever the hell I want, look at him. He's got the tie-dye on with the peace signs and
The yin and yang
the
tie
yin.
dye. Yeah, man.
But it's interesting that he's on this deal and WWE lets him wrestle in AEW. Can't be a part of the roster. He just can only do the one-offs.
Yeah.
I wonder if he makes enough on the Legends deal that it's not even to do nothing. Like, I wonder what that Legends deal looks like. And is he in the Hall of Fame yet?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm wondering if his shirt though, the yin and the yang, the white represents the AEW and the black represents the WWE. And the black and the white represents the WWE in the AEW. And the white and the black represents the AEW in the WWE.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he's trying to tell us with this tank top that he wears out to the ring there. RVD, noted mystic and guru.
This is another one about DDP. Did some miracle work with Razor Ramon.
Yes, with Scott Hall for a while.
I saw that. It was pretty good.
Yes, because Scott Hall had some physical injuries and some substance abuse problems. Passed away a few years ago, but his quality of life was apparently better thanks to what DDP was able to help him with. Yes, very good. Speaking of people who may not be around long, Darby Allin pulls up to a random birthday party and teaches everyone the coffin drop. He posted this on his Twitter X account here. Someone had posted, Darby Allin, thank you so much for going out of your way to make my son's birthday memorable. I'm sorry he was so quiet and shy. Thanks again, GOAT. Now, the way Darby phrased it, though, pulled up at a random birthday party. So he just like shows up places where there are birthday parties with the face paint on and starts teaching people how to do coffin drops.
What's the context? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, I mean, this is almost like the Bonsall Street Bomber just handing cigarettes to kids.
Right. Which you really can't do. That's that's very frowned upon now that we're talking about it. Some would say even actually illegal.
Yes. To hand a lit cigarette to a child.
Right.
In a public place.
And indoors, too.
But you know what's perfectly legal? Coffin drops.
Yeah, I mean, that's the place to do it. I was at one of these things 2 weeks ago, and they have all these different paddings and stuff that kids could jump onto.
Maybe these trampoline parks and whatnots for birthday parties. There it is. Darby Allin teaching people how to do the coffin drop. That's a little lighthearted there for Cheap Heat. We're almost done. One more. Big Papa Pump. Scott Steiner. His son, Brock Rex Steiner, is a receiver for Jacksonville State. Here he is catching a touchdown pass against New Mexico State in a football game. And of course, Big Papa Pump says all receivers are not created evil. The numbers don't lie. He had a 141 2/3 chance of scoring a touchdown here.
Perfect.
Yes, folks, it's the return of Scott Steiner's math promo from TNA Sacrifice 2008. Look it up on the interwebbies. I've been told there's wrestling on the interwebbies, John. Have you heard of this? There's wrestling on the interwebbies. There's wrestling people on the interwebbies. Scott Steiner and the math promo is on the interwebbies. There's even like a subgenre of people doing things with the Scott Steiner math promo, like Professor Scott Steiner typography that user AJ Minotti did here, where he's actually going to break down for you how to get to 141 2/3 chance. Apparently, this old promo was done in one take, and Scott Steiner, for whatever you want to say about him, he absolutely nailed the math.
Oh,
the
really?
numbers work.
Let's see
One take. One take. I know accountants who couldn't do that.
Let's see it. Press play.
Press play on this? Okay.
It's
this is from AJ Minotti's. As you could see, that statement is not true. One-on-one with a wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak. I'm not normal. So you got a 25% chance at best to beat me. Then you got Kurt Angle in the mix. He's ragging on Samoa Joe here in this triple threat match. See, the three-way, you got a 33 1/3% chance of winning. But I got a 66 2/3 chance of winning because Kurt Angle knows he can't beat me. So he's stealing Kurt Angle's 33 1/3 there. So you take the 33 1/3 chance that Samoa Joe has, and we're going to just subtract 25. So now he's all the way down 8 1/3. But now you take Scott Steiner's 75% chance of winning if they go one-on-one. You add the 66 2/3 for the triple threat. He's got a 141 2/3% chance winning this triple threat at Sacrifice. John, I have no idea how that match turned out.
I don't know anything about the match, but all I do know is I always assumed that he was not doing the math correctly and he was just saying words, but he actually nailed all the math.
He crushed the math. In one take, he crushed the math. I don't know what happened in this match, but I know the promo is legendary. Look it up for yourself. It's all over the interwebby. Scott Steiner math promo. John, that's all I got. It's unseasonably warm. It is.
All
the numbers
right.
don't lie. It's cheap heat.
All right. Let's turn this off. And now we're moseying on down to the, let's fix the screen here. And moseying on down to the Italian goodbye. And we have a chat that came through. And Dom, when
We do.
I get the chat up, I will send it to you.
Here we go. Let's throw that chat up on screen. DDP, I believe, helped Jake the Snake. Yes. Yes, he did. Jake the Snake Roberts, longtime friend. Jake the Snake Roberts, a really a guy who was great at ring psychology and really understood that aspect of wrestling. Stories were that, and Jake has told some of these stories in interviews that he was supposed to become a backstage booker because he had such a great mind for this, and he just couldn't get himself together to just show up on time. And so that opportunity for him fell through. Like, he had some really problems with substance abuse. It affected his dependability. And eventually that affected his in-ring work and what people could do with him because they just couldn't count on the guy. I mean, as skilled as he was in the ring and in the promos and with building feuds with guys, the ring psychology, the promo psychology. I mean, he's a brilliant guy, really sharp. But people just they didn't have confidence that, he would be there and be able to fulfill all the obligations of big time performing. It was unfortunate. And he needed several times to try and turn his life around. His return to the WWF at the time and feud with, at the time, the ringmaster Steve Austin, which is where Steve Austin developed the Austin 316 says, "I just whooped your ass" catchphrase that became a t-shirt. And, whatever. That was playing off of Jake Roberts trying to use some of his real life struggles into a wrestling angle. And Jake still struggled after that. So he's been on quite a roller coaster. Jake Roberts has been doing some manager stuff in AEW, hasn't he, in the last 5 years or so since AEW has been on?
He's back into it again. He's doing some manager stuff now. He shot what I would say is one of the best promos I've seen in this decade against Cody Rhodes. I will send it to you after.
Wow.
Let's see.
I'm not going to watch it now. We're doing the Italian goodbye.
It's going to get banned. I don't want it to get banned. I'll send it to you outside of this.
Yes.
But
you don't want to play it now from the AEW channel, right?
Yeah, and they will immediately just take the channel down. Let's not do that. I've had so much crap happening sometimes with YouTube. It is a bit frustrating at this point. When I first started,
we're moving up in the world. Some might say we've arrived.
We have arrived when they're complaining or when they're flagging your videos for specific things. But
Yes. Help
Adrian,
us get even more on their radar. Subscribe at Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube. We are making our way through the 800s, trying to get to 900 and then hopefully into the 4 figures. Help us lock in a figure 4.
yes.
Help us get to 4 figures. There we go.
And let me
Help
tell you,
us get there.
you can either subscribe, which is always really helpful. We do have now the option to join our memberships. And let me tell you something. Our membership is really worth it. It's $2 a month. You get priorities with comments, and we will make a video on your request. So if you have an idea for a video, you want us to make it, you just sign up. It's $2 a month. We'll make the video. So I think it's a pretty.
They're pro wrestling related.
Yes. So you
We're
give me
not
the,
big old movie previews like, oh, want Godzilla to come out of the flaming stuff and
yeah. So the fixer, if you're interested, if you have a couple extra bucks, come up and become a member of our channel. Let's see. He's saying
joining donor there. Very good. Alcohol, yes. He cleaned up his addiction. Yes. There you go. And now Jake is doing well, apparently, in AEW.
And then he said, I just think he fixed something. Stepped is bigly.
Stepped up bigly, yes.
Oh. Yeah, he's been on AEW, and I've liked him there. But they put him away, and they always has weird guys, and they don't have him in any big programs. And I don't know if there's a level of trust with a lot of the people there for how long he could really have a program with someone, because he's always so on and off the wagon. I don't even think that the WWE would consider bringing him in as a talent and having him be a manager on the road. Like he's high risk at this point. He's had so many battles with alcoholism and other stuff that goes along with it. Like I remember I was watching a documentary on Netflix with him and DDP, and he's doing fine. Eventually, he's like, they're at the airport, and he's like, "Where are you? Where are you?" DDP can't find him for an hour. Then he finds him. He's like, "Where are your shoes?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I just he's like, "Did you sell your shoes or something?" He sold his shoes, tried to buy booze or something like that, and he had no shoes. It was pathetic.
I'm selling my shoes to buy some booze.
Yeah, and he's like, "What's wrong with you? You've been drinking?" He's like, "Yeah, I went back. I was having a couple at the airport lounge." And it's like, you're on this Netflix show. You're supposed to be cleaning his act up, but there may be.
I like the term you used, high risk. He's high ability, but he's high risk.
In the NFL, they refer to it as character issues.
Ah, okay.
So when someone's about to get drafted, they say, "Well, he's got some character issues." And that can mean a litany of different things.
Sure.
It can mean that, hey, he beat up his girlfriend in college, got caught on tape. He stole some crab legs from from a buffet. He stole some of the crab legs, that was Jameis Winston. There's a couple guys that did some stuff like hitting girls, throwing girls onto, one guy threw a girl onto a big thing of AK-47s in his house, but he got kicked out of the league. Yeah. So
okay, character issues.
Character issues.
There you go. Vague enough to let the imagination run wild.
Yes.
What you gonna do when the character issues run wild on you?
Hey Dom, I got before we jump off here on the Italian goodbye, we're Italian goodbying it up. If you're on right now, just let us. I'm gonna just repeat this. What the program is, the membership program. I think it is pretty cool, and it's not really quite clear in the YouTube. So,
okay.
If you do sign up, it's $2. It could be $1.99. You sign up, you get a free video, you get priority comments, and you're a member of the channel. And then in addition to that, we can communicate back and forth, and you could tell us how you'd like to make a video. There's certain also ranges. So let's say, for example, you do our biggest range is about $12 a month. We'll give you 2 T-shirts that we make. So you get 2 Don't Bury the Lead T-shirts. We'll make 3 videos for you. You'll have priorities with comments, so you'll be the head honcho. So I just want to kind of explain how the tiers work.
Yes,
And
very
then
good.
for $1 a month, you're part of the member, like you're donating, you're part of the channel.
You receive our gratitude, and we mean that, because we
Yeah.
started this for fun, and it's still fun. But as we're moving up and YouTube wants to do more stuff with us and give us more scrutiny when we do stuff on the videos, we wanted to check out what tools were available on YouTube for more engagement with audience, and this is one of those things available on YouTube for greater audience engagement and participation.
So yeah, so I would say if you're interested, go for it. If not, don't. I wanted to talk to you, Dom.
Sure.
I had an idea, and I wanted to brainstorm. I don't know if you're comfortable doing this online or not. Should we?
Go for it. I have nothing to hide.
This is true. So, I have the CM Punk video coming out with RKO. Or excuse me, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
Did you watch that by any chance?
I did not.
Okay, cool. So that's going to be released tomorrow. So it was doing well, and it got flagged, so I pulled it down. I'm going to put that back on, but this is an example of making a video that I was experimenting with that has had success now. So I want to continue to make these breakdowns when I can. And really my goal was to do 1 experimental video a month. And then I was thinking about an experimental video. You know how you write up your the articles,
I am on Substack. I write there weekly, and I just this week turned on subscriptions there because I'm planning some extra content.
Cool. So on Substack, you write articles.
Yes.
Would you be willing to write yourself just like an essay that would be like 3 or 4 minutes long about any pro wrestling topic? You get it onto the mic, you read it out, you read the essay. So I have the audio right there, and then I'll just put videos, and I'll edit it where I'll put music in, I'll put like video footage or whatever that would go with it.
Huh. That's a good question. Tell us in the chat. Tell us in the comments. Do you want to hear me sound off on something for 3 minutes?
Yeah, let's see it.
I'd have to think of something. I've done that before, especially in the Italian Goodbye.
Yeah, I want to say this. We kind of do it today, but this would be a little bit more thought out. Yeah. And it'll have an audio of you really talking and reading, so that way, we're not stammering around. Like we do a lot of brainstorming, right? And it's off the cuff.
On live when we do, we don't have a script here.
Yeah, but you would just follow your script that you wrote for yourself for the 3 minutes. So, but yeah, I'd have to say here, what happens if I do this? How does this look too? Oh no. Can we go left and right here or no?
I had no problem with how the chat was working before, where it just you bring it up when a chat comes through on the bottom when you want to address it on live.
Yeah, you know what? Most of these people are on YouTube anyway, so they can see in their browser what the chat looks like. All right, I'll turn the overlay off. Yeah, so let me know what you think of that. And if you don't want to do it, that's okay. But if you do want to do it, that would be cool.
I will have to come up with a topic. What do I want to talk about for 3 minutes?
Yeah,
wrestling related.
Yeah, if you just, as if you wrote an article, and then you just say the article.
Okay.
Your Substack articles are great. I read them
Thank
every
you.
week. So I was like, hey, do something like this in the wrestling world. You could even do, you've been talking about it a lot, maybe Solo Sikoa.
Maybe Solo Sikoa. Okay.
Instead of me going, because you said some good stuff tonight, and then you said some stuff, you know, last week,
A
but
few weeks
maybe
ago too. Yeah, yeah.
that was good. If you could somehow combine that and then put a little thought into it and then organize it in a way that it's, oh yeah, Solo Sikoa is, you'd maybe even do a little research, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. A possibility. I if I can come up with a topic, yes, I will. I will do that.
And let me know how good you feel. Like if you have one and you're like, hey, this is 6 minutes. I'm like, perfect. 6 minutes is good. It's just like not 25 minutes,
No, no, no. I
Not
wouldn't
yet,
want to
at
do that.
least.
I wouldn't
Not-
want to sit there reciting from a printed page, reading off like a teleprompter for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I could talk off the cuff all day, but like just reading out, reciting out loud. Oh my goodness, no.
Too boring. Okay, cool. Dom. I mean, it's the Italian goodbye. Anything else from you?
It was a good show. We're getting the hang of this Saturday thing.
Saturday night's a lot of fun. I really appreciate you hopping on here. Hey, I'm gonna go watch a little bit of AEW Wrestle Dream. It's on pay-per-view right now, so
Very good.
I'm gonna go watch that. So it's been great. The Fixer and Nick, you guys are awesome. You rock. You rule. You guys are amazing. Keep coming out here every Saturday night. And Dom, great job as usual. And
Enjoyable, yes.
and to everyone else, have a great rest of your evening.